Hello friends, and welcome back to Figure Study, where we appreciate the form in Transformers. So today we're going to be taking a look at a repaint of Sergeant Kup from Titan's Return that was made into Orion Pax. This figure is available in the Op Evolution 2-pack, and as of this recording, that 2-pack is actually still available on Amazon's website for $30 with free shipping, and that is like half the price of what the general retail cost of this 2-pack is. So if you're interested, I've got the link down below there so you can check it out. Hopefully by the time this goes up, it will still be available, but it's been at that price for a while now, so yeah. Now, if you're on the fence about it or whatever, I'd say get it, because, I mean, you know, that's basically $15 a figure. One of those figures is a re-release of the War for Cybertron Optimus Prime, which is, like, just absurdly expensive on its own, like $40 plus. So that right there, you know, it's worth it. But yeah, then there's this. This is cool. So for the sake of expediency and my own laziness, I'm just going to keep referring to him as Orion Pax or Titan's Return Orion Pax. And this guy is very cool. I actually had my eye on Kup because I thought the transformation was neat, but I wasn't all that fond of the color scheme or the weird grumpy old man face. So being repainted into Orion Pax was something that I was just like, yes, I will take that. I was a little put off by the $60 price tag of the 2-pack, but when I got it off of Amazon for $30, it's just like, yes, I will pay $15 happily for this figure, and I do not regret it in the slightest. Honestly, I don't think I would have regretted paying full price for the 2-pack with this guy, because he is very cool. So, for anyone unfamiliar with Titan's Return Kup, it's pretty much the exact same vehicle. At least from what I can tell, I don't actually own Kup. But yeah, it's this kind of squat little Cybertronian truck thing with these little blasters on the back that aren't necessary. Those are just his weapons. You can see there, that's more of the traditional Kup vehicle shape. But I kind of like having these on the back because it fills it out a little bit more. It's weapon storage that I don't hate. That's a rarity. So, yeah, this is not a bad vehicle mode. It's like it hides the robot, except for like right here. It hides the robot well. It's an interesting shape. My main gripe with the vehicle mode is back here. This just looks kind of messy. Like, not this part, but like this here specifically. It's just like there's some gaps and these little like pegs and stuff just sticking up all over the place. So yeah, a little messy, but when you've got these plugged in, that kind of covers up the messiness a little bit, I think. So, color-wise, he is the traditional Optimus Prime / Orion Pax, red and blue. I mean, traditional in the sense that he's red and blue, not necessarily that the shades are exactly traditional. But what's here works. It's a nice color scheme. I also like the way it's kind of broken up a little bit, where most of like the front cab section is that red and it kind of goes all the way back here, but then the sides are blue. It adds some nice interest to it. I was actually not sure how I was going to feel about these wheels, because they're translucent blue with like the rims painted silver, although these wheels do not have any painted rims because the rims are covered. But I was kind of like looking at the pictures, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, but honestly, in hand, the translucent wheels with the silver work really well. Like, it's not distracting at all. I thought that having that clear plastic as a wheel would be annoying, but no, visually it works just fine. And then in the front, you got the silver for the grille, which is very nice. You don't really see it very much in vehicle mode just because of the way it's sloped forward, but it comes more into play in robot mode. And then for the windshield, some nice kind of just, we want to make this look futuristic, random lines for details in there. But I do like how they've got the little silver strip here with the logo and the little yellow bits there. And there's also that same insignia on the side here, which is interesting. You get these here in vehicle mode, but then in robot mode, these end up being the backs of his shoulders. So they're upside down and facing backwards. I mean, it's not something you really see in robot mode, but it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like it's a tiny detail that almost seems unnecessary. Especially given the fact that when you're looking at this guy, those little emblems don't really stand out, honestly. Like the silver just, it doesn't contrast enough with the red to really stand out. So it's like, they probably could have put that somewhere else, or possibly done away with them entirely and put some paint somewhere else, but whatever. And the back, you've got lights, which are not painted, unfortunately. I suppose it would have been kind of nice if these emblems weren't here and instead they just painted something on the back, but I'm shrugging like you can see what I'm doing. And now for the main event, because, you know, everyone wants the Titan Masters. It's not about the actual figures, it's all about the little heads. Where do we put you? You can putter off this way. Okay, thought he was going to roll back. So, Orion Pax's Titan Master is not bad. Honestly, the sculpting is kind of... it doesn't really do it for me. Like, there are some tiny details here, but the details that are there are just kind of bland. Like, there's nothing interesting about the body, the arms, or anything like that. I do like the fact that the torso is red, because it mixes it up a little bit and does kind of mirror the color options for the main robot mode, but just there's not really much in the way of molded details, and it's just kind of meh, which is a little disappointing. The tiny robot face is also like I don't know, it just doesn't seem all that interesting to me, but they did paint the face silver and that teeny tiny little visor yellow, so, you know, that is impressive. I definitely appreciate that they painted the face. I just think the sculpt on the tiny face isn't all that special. It's a shame, like the actual Titan Master just kind of meh. You can stand right there for now. Oh, he fell over. Okay, well, he can lay there right now. And might as well, real quick, get on the inside here. You can actually see a decent amount of molded detail in there as well. It's interesting, like there's not as much molded detail in Orion Pax's vehicle mode as there are in some of the other Titans Return figures. I should say, because it's Cup's vehicle mode, but still. But I mean, I do appreciate the detail that's there. Like these little things almost look like drawers or something, like some kind of container lids that you can pull open. And you've got these kind of mechanical looking panels above the front wheel wells. I guess they tried to do some detail here to make it look like the flatbed of a truck. So yeah, all in all, not bad. Can I peg you somewhere? I cannot, so I don't feel like putting you back in the truck, so you're just going to sit there. All right, how about we do some size comparisons? And here we have Miss Orion, our standard size thingy. And here is a regular Titans Return Deluxe. And yeah, I mean, he's the same size as Cup. If you have Cup, you know exactly how big this figure is. Or rather, how big the vehicle mode is. But, not bad. Not bad. Yoink. And so now, I suppose, it is time for transformation, which is probably my favorite thing about this figure. It's just a really neat transformation. I do enjoy it. So, let's get that done. And lo, we have an Orion Pax. And I do like this very much. I can see the kind of cup influences where he's got like the windshield chest, but it's just, I think this works really well as Orion Pax. Granted, I only know what I know about Orion Pax from looking at the other Orion Pax toys. Don't really know much other than that, but I mean, this works. This looks like it could be a younger Optimus Prime. It could be a non-Prime Optimus Prime. And here is where I think the bulk of the paint apps went, which I do think actually works really, really well. The overall shape, just getting to that real quick, is definitely slimmer than Optimus, but still kind of hits the same points, just mostly color-wise. And from the front, does look very cool. The boots are kind of oversized Mega Man boots, but I think that, it works. It makes the arms look a little scrawny by comparison, but I think just overall works really well. In terms of the color, it is broken up pretty nicely, where there's the gray primarily for the feet and the thighs, like a little bit at the midsection. That's about it. But then you get the red for the torso, most of the midsection, then some blue spots that have been painted that kind of mix it up pretty well. And I like that they managed to get the blue elsewhere to kind of match the blue of the helmet. It's just nice cohesion there. So in terms of the paint apps that I was talking about earlier, you've got the shins, which are actually painted, which this is kind of a neat trick, because in vehicle mode, these were truck bed, so they're red, but then in robot mode they become the shins, and now they're blue with these little added details there. And I just think that's kind of neat how it like because these could have been red, and if they were red, there would have just been too much red on this guy, I think. But like with that extra bit of blue down here, a little blue here, it really does keep them from being too monotone. And then you get some paint in the midsection, or lower area there. Nice silver and yellow belt buckle. And then this is kind of cool. This is where you can see some of that precursor to Optimus Prime stuff, where he's got these silver patches on his forearms that is similar to the silver and yellow bits, details that end up on his forearms when he's a Prime. Shoulders, these nice little yellow bits that don't really serve a purpose, but it adds some visual interest. And the windshield is exactly the same. You do get to see more of the car grille on the inside, which is nice, because it's see-through enough that it makes for some nice texture in there. The only thing that kind of stinks is it's this really nice silver for the front of the car, but you don't really get to see it because it's covered by this windshield. So when that comes down, it's just kind of yeah, like it could have been white and it would have probably been the same. But it all comes together nicely. Proportion-wise, the overall silhouette is nice, aside from like the large boots throwing off the arms, but I think, it still works. The thing that bugs me about this guy is the fact that if you look at him from the side, he just looks too scrawny. Like, this is just way too flat back here, and that kind of bugs me. I mean, granted, I'm not going to be displaying him this way. You're typically going to be looking at him from, mostly head-on, but it just kind of stinks that when you look at him from there, it's like so narrow and scrawny looking. But then the back actually looks pretty good too. Like most of the hollowness of the legs is filled in, or is covered up rather. And I do like how the sides of the vehicle just fold up and around. That's just really neat. And some nice detail here. This section, standard Hasbro hollowness. Then the back, that's actually not bad. Just a little bit of molded detail there. Now, the thing that I tend to do to this guy to offset that is give him his Jetpack, where if you take the guns, you can combine them, as is the norm, and that right there is a pretty nifty double-barrel blaster, but you can just plug it on the back there, and that kind of It doesn't fix the problem, but it kind of covers it up a little bit. It makes it look like his back has a little bit more dimension to it. And it doesn't get in the way of his robot mode, which, I mean, based on what little I know of Orion Pax, I feel like him going around with massive dual blasters is a little silly anyway. So I think the Jetpack works better in that regard. And for the head, we'll just borrow you. Borrow you for a minute. And the head, I think, looks much nicer than what I saw of the typical Titan's Return Cup head. Because it's not like a grumpy old man. This, again, looks sort of like the precursor to Optimus Prime. The helmet is very similar in style. The face has, like, similar blue eyes, silverness. Like, basically, if you put a face mask over this, I feel like it would look pretty much exactly like Optimus Prime. The only two things that bug me about this head, I kind of wish they had added some color into the crest there, and mine has this this kind of blemish here, which it's kind of stinks. I can't quite tell. I've been looking at it, and I can't quite tell if that's like some paint that went where it shouldn't have, or if paint scratched off of the silver, but I don't know. It's unfortunate that that happened, but from a distance, it doesn't it doesn't ruin the effect or anything. It's just a little disappointing. So yeah, Orion Pax is pretty darn cool. So let's do some size comparison, shall we? We have our other Titan's Return Deluxe. Let me get them kind of situated here. So you can see it's funny, for his vehicle mode being smaller than Hardhead's, because Hardhead's is more flat and spread out. It's surprising that he's actually noticeably taller. He's like a good half a head taller than Hardhead. That's, I mean, I'm okay with that. It's Optimus, or he will become Optimus Prime, but it's interesting. And, of course, can't forget, we're just sizing standard there. So yeah, he ends up being a pretty decent figure, at least in terms of size. So, like I said at the beginning, Titan's Return Orion Pax, definitely worth getting, especially if you can get the 2-pack for that $30 price tag. Like, basically spending $15 on this figure is just, that's a great price for this figure, I think. And he is very cool. Honestly, I don't know if owning Cup would change my mind or not. I'm not too big on having two of the same figure that are just a different color. I sometimes make exceptions, but for the most part, I tend to only want to have one of a given mold. But for me, this is the one. This is the definitive version of this mold, because it's just the colors are much nicer. The head sculpt is nicer, even if it's got that little blemish on it. And it's, it does kind of stink with the narrow torso, but again, that's only if you're looking at it from the side. But yeah, I mean, the robot mode, I think, looks fantastic. The vehicle mode looks really good, especially with the guns on the back as a sort of like filler to distract from all the noise going on back there. And yeah, it's just, he looks really, really good. And the slightly higher cost just from the paint and stuff really shows here, because you've got like just little extra bits of painted detail in robot mode that really go a long way to break up the monotony that could have been there. He is very neat. Very much recommend getting him if you're in the market. And that is going to do it, because I am repeating myself as I always do. So, thank you everybody for watching. As per usual, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those three would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.